Welcome back to another edition of Conference Chatter TV, where my goal this week is to better the 9-3 record that I had in Week 1 of the Big 12 college football season. We'll see if we can do it. I think some of the games in the Big 12 season set up to where I might be able to do that in Week 2. Well, thanks for checking out another edition. My name is Sorrentino. You can follow my stuff on kusports.com. I keep my Conference Chatter blog over there, so feel free to check that out. Well, we're here in Week 2 to preview some more games. Let's get right to it on Friday with Colorado at Toledo. The big story with Colorado is they're sticking with Cody Hawkins at quarterback. The plan is for Tyler Hansen to redshirt. Cody Hawkins took all of the snaps in Week 1 against Colorado State in that loss, and he should be back under center again. I'm going to go with Colorado in this one. I think this is the last time that I'm going to put my confidence in the Buffs. If they don't win this one, I don't know. It might be a while until they restore some confidence for me. But Toledo lost 52-31 in Week 1, so Colorado should have a chance to put some points on the board in this one. I'm going to keep an eye on Darrell Scott, though, the heralded sophomore running back. He only had one carry last week, and he's supposed to be just an unbelievable talent over there in Boulder. So I'm going to look for Coach Dan Hawkins to give Darrell Scott some touches in Week 2. I'm going to go with Colorado. Let's see if they can hold on there. The rest of the games will be taking place on Saturday. That Colorado one was on Friday. Let's get to the Saturday games here. Iowa at Iowa State in the Cy-Hawk Trophy game, for what it's called there. Iowa's won 4 of the past 6 of these games. I'm going to go with the Hawkeyes in this one. The Big 12, I know that I said last week the Big 12 has owned the Big 10 lately. But before I start picking Iowa State on a weekly basis, I think I'm going to have to see them prove that they can win. They look pretty good in Week 1, but Iowa, certainly number 22 in the country, going to be a much tougher opponent in Week 2. I'm going to go with the Hawkeyes in this one, despite the fact that they barely edged Northern Iowa 17-16 in Week 1. I think they're going to pull this one out in Ames, Iowa. We'll see how that one goes. That should be a pretty good game, though. Arkansas State at Nebraska. I'm definitely going with Nebraska on this one. Arkansas State, they won 61-0 actually in Week 1 against Mississippi Valley State. I know it was only Mississippi Valley State, but they looked pretty good. This one shouldn't be a problem for Nebraska, though. They're home at Lincoln. They should have no problems here in Week 2 and improve to 2-0 on the season. Let's move next. Texas at Wyoming. Another cupcake for the Longhorns in their non-conference schedule. They should have no problem here. Texas should win this one, and win this one pretty big by a wide margin. I'm going to be looking at the running back situation for the Longhorns in this one. DJ Monroe, the freshman, really came on in Week 1 and proved that Vondrell McGee is not just going to get all the carries with no competition. He proved that he can carry the load and return kickoffs, as DJ Monroe returned an 89-yard touchdown on a kickoff return in Week 1 as well, so proving his versatility there. So I'm going to look for the running back situation to kind of take shape there. I wonder if DJ Monroe will push Vondrell McGee, who fumbled twice in Week 1. So look for Monroe to get some increased carries in Week 2 for the Longhorns. So Texas big in that one. Next, we got Houston at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, number 5 in the country now after that huge Week 1 victory against Georgia. Hey, if Oklahoma State can win at home against Georgia, I certainly expect them to win at home against Houston. I'm going to go with the Cowboys in this one. A name to keep an eye on for Houston, quarterback Case Keenum, who was 23 of 30, 359 yards, 4 touchdowns in Week 1, and that was only in 3 quarters. Again, I know it was Northwestern State, but Houston has a potent offense, and they can put some points on the board. But I'm going with Oklahoma State in this one. They're at home. Well, this is a bit of an aside, but kudos to Oklahoma State for scheduling these pretty tough opponents. Georgia and Houston's no cupcake either. So Oklahoma State, if they win this one, this will be another confidence boost for them. They already got one in Week 1 against Georgia. I look for them to win again against Houston. Next, Kansas State at Louisiana Lafayette. I don't know. I really don't know if K-State can win this game. I'm going to pick them to, though. The reason I say that is because they looked rather pedestrian in Week 1 against an FCS opponent in Massachusetts. This is a game that K-State should win, though. and I'm going to look for them to do that against Lafayette. We'll see what happens. Daniel Thomas is kind of an interesting guy to keep an eye on for K-State. He was a guy that was giving Carson Kaufman and Grant Gregory competition in the quarterback position over the summer, and now he's almost their, he's pretty much their number one guy at running back. He had 23 carries, 104 yards in week 1. So he's very elusive, very quick out of the backfield. And I didn't see him being the number 1 running back in the K-State offense, but it would appear that way after week 1. So something to keep an eye on there for the Wildcats. But I think they'll go to 2-0 here against Lafayette. We'll see how that one goes. Next, Rice at Texas Tech. Tech should have no problem in this one. Rice lost in week 1, 44-24 at UAB. This atmosphere in Lubbock is going to be considerably more hostile for Rice. So look for Tech to prevail in this one pretty easily by 2 or 3 touchdowns, I would say. Taylor Potts, I'm going to kind of track his progress, though. Week 1, he had 3 interceptions. Sure, he passed for 405 yards and 2 touchdowns, but those 3 interceptions are a little bit concerning. I'm going to see his progress in week 2. Maybe he can cut down a little bit on those picks. Tech big, though, in week 2. Bowling Green at Missouri. Missouri crept into the top 25 in the AP poll this last week, entering at number 25 after that huge win against Illinois in the arch rivalry game. I'm picking Missouri certainly in this one. I think they'll improve to 2-0. They look really good. Kind of an interesting storyline here playing Bowling Green. Missouri's inspiration for their whole no-huddle spread offense with Gary Pinkel actually came from Bowling Green. But I expect the student to kind of become the master, so to speak, in this one. I think Missouri at home in Columbia, no problem at all in this game against Bowling Green. Devin Moore will actually, their number 2 running back is expected to be out for Missouri. So Derek Washington, I expect him to shoulder more of the load, obviously, with the carries at running back. Missouri should have no problem with this one, though. Let's move on. Idaho State at Oklahoma. The Sooners dropped to number 13 in the AP poll after their loss to BYU. Landry Jones, let's see what you got, big guy. He's the redshirt freshman will get the start, of course, with Sam Bradford out. It's been a tough week for OU. I mean, Bradford, of course, and then Jermaine Gresham is going to be out for the entire season. That's bad. Just really, really bad news for Oklahoma. That said, they shouldn't have any problem in this one against a completely outmatched Idaho State squad. I'm going to look at the OU offensive line because they really need to improve as the season progresses and as they enter the conference season. Look, they had 6 penalties on the offensive line against BYU, 4 false starts. This can't happen throughout the season. I really look for OU to cut down on that as the year progresses, and just something to keep an eye on for the Sooners because this one, I mean, OU should win this by, I don't even know, a whole lot though. They shouldn't have any problem with Idaho State. Let's see. I think that takes us to the last one. Yeah, Kansas at UTEP to close the Big 12 Week 2 season out. KU, it seems like in the past they've always been involved in these close non-conference road games. In fact, the Jayhawks have lost their last 3 non-conference road games. Going back to last season at South Florida, they dropped that one. 2006, they lost to Toledo. 2004, they lost at Northwestern. That said, I think the streak ends this week. I'm going with the Jayhawks in this one. I think Kansas is the better team. Despite going down to the Sun Bowl, they should win this one by, I would say 10 points, anywhere in that vicinity. Des Briscoe is back for this one. He's going to look to have a huge game for the Jayhawks in his first game back after being suspended for those lingering academic reasons. He's back in week 2. I'm looking for a big game from him. UTEP is a team that can put points on the board on offense, but could certainly give them up as well. And Kansas is a very potent team on offense, and I expect Kansas to win this one. So that's a 9-1 prediction for me from the Big 12 in week 2. My record to date is 9-3, so we'll see how this one goes. 10 games in week 2. Texas A&M and Baylor are on byes actually for week 2, so only 10 games to predict here. That should do it. We'll see how this one goes. I'm confident that I'm going to do better than 9-3 in week 1, but we'll see how it goes. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to the latest edition of Conference Chatter TV. I will talk to you again after the games. Thanks, guys.